Joining me now, Karol Markowicz of the New York Post. She wrote this op-ed, quote, "I'm quitting Disney after seeing it boast about pushing gender theory. The Walt Disney Company just refuses to let it go." She joins us now. Karol, let it rip.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks so much for having me. I think Disney should have to answer which subject should the schools cut out in order to have this gender ideology classes. Should it be math? Maybe they should stop teaching science. Just which subjects should we not get around to while the teachers focus on teaching about gender identity? And I think Disney should be forced to answer that kind of question for the parents that it, claims to speak for.
You frequently come on this show. You've talked to us about some of your issues. You left New York. You moved down to Florida for a lot of different reasons, and you've explained them to us. But this is actually interesting to me because I'm thinking to myself, Karol went down there for a little bit more, freedom, a little bit less controlling of the messaging, and yet, here we are. But your choice essentially was to say, I'm quitting. I'm going to miss taking my kids there, but we won't do it.
Right, and I will. It really doesn't feel great to, cancel out a American company like that. I really like Disney, but they've decided to operate as a political agency, and they've promised to try to overturn this parental rights law, which I support. So why shouldn't Governor DeSantis and Republican politicians treat them as the political foes they are? I'm enjoying my time in Florida. I love that they put kids first. I love that they act on things like this, where I think we should be learning academic subjects in school. I don't think my kindergartner should be learning that boys can be girls and girls can be boys and they could change back tomorrow. I think all of that is stuff that they can be learning elsewhere. I think schools should be for academic subjects.
Yeah, and there's a lot of question, obviously, from many parents and many patrons of the theme parks that basically say, Disney, it's not your job. Your job is to entertain us. It's not your job to make these kinds of statements and to influence our children. If we want to do that, we can do it at home. And so many people are pointing out, as Ashley said, to some of the hypocrisy as well. When it comes to making money and profits, Disney doesn't have a problem streaming in places like Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, right? But they're trying to make a statement here in Florida.
That's right. And I think all of it comes down to Governor DeSantis being probably the most popular Republican governor in the country, and it being from the left an argument to try to stop him in 2024. I don't think it has anything to do with his upcoming gubernatorial election. I think it's looking to the future and how they can kneecap a popular, successful Republican governor so that he doesn't go on and become president. And that's really what this is all about to me.
Let's talk about this law that's roughly over 50 years old and that allows Disney as an entity to self-govern in Florida. That's something Ron DeSantis is mentioning that, that they're looking at here. You think about this and say to yourself, well, they're doing business in that state. I'm not really sure where the law originated from or what the purpose was, but it almost seems like they're really going outside of the scope. It's developed over time. And he's saying we need to take a look at this.
Yeah, again, I think that it's correct for him and for other GOP politicians to treat them like they're political foes. Disney is openly challenging an actual law in Florida and saying, we're going to fight this. I mean, are they a political organization or aren't they? And I think if they are a political organization, they should probably be careful that the other political side probably will come after them in the same way. I don't see anything wild and crazy about when challenged politically responding.
Right. And the argument also being made essentially against the parental rights bill that DeSantis is pushing forward is that, well, they're calling it Don't Say Gay, that you're attacking a certain, fragment, a certain member of the group of members, of the population. And essentially the other side is saying if you actually read the bill, that's not what's happening at all. Nobody is saying that there should be any kind of discrimination or any, nothing like that. This is about parental rights. We're talking K through third grade here, and the same way we've discussed critical race theory, right? Parents want a right to have some influence over what their children are learning in school at that tender age.
Right. I would never support a law that prohibited people from saying they were gay or trans or anything like that. I think that's despicable, and I would never support it. And this law does not do that whatsoever. This law makes sure that teachers are not instructing kids on these subjects. And it's not, again, these kids are very small. I have a kindergartner, I have a third grader. I don't want them learning gender ideology in school. I don't want them learning critical race theory in school. And a large part of that to me is that we just had 2 years of a pandemic where school wasn't a sure thing and it was kind of chaotic, and they're behind. All the kids are behind. They need to be catching up. They need to be focusing on what matters in school. And I think that needs to be, again, academic subjects first. Everything else can be discussed at a later point, but I absolutely think this is the right law for right now.
Right. You're saying we got to get our priorities straight. A lot of people are saying that too, Karol.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thanks so much.
Sure.